Our first big snowstorm of the year.
And with that snowstorm, we've got 2 alert days for us, Thursday and Friday. We're tracking some dangerously cold temperatures in addition to this snow. We're going to break it all down coming up.
And we've got weatherization tips to help keep your family warm this winter season.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
As many 4-state families pack their bags and prepare to hit the road for the holidays, forecasters warn you to keep an eye on the sky. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Dangerously cold temps, high winds, and rain changing into snow, all things that could be headed our way. We haven't seen snow on the ground since last year, and now is the time to consider whether your trip to your family's house is worth it. With dangerously cold weather, you do not want to get stranded. And if you do have trouble on the road, have your state's emergency number handy. Star 55 in Missouri and Arkansas, Star 47 in Kansas, and simply 911 in Oklahoma. Make sure you have an emergency kit with blankets, warm clothes, battery cables, and a cell phone charger. Also, make sure you have a full tank of gas. Well, Chris Warner has been busy tracking the storms and joins us now with the latest.
As we get closer to Thursday, we're getting more information and better refined information on what exactly we can expect. Now, one thing we don't have all of the answers on yet is the total snowfall. We'll get to all of that in just a second. First, let's break down the 2 alert days, Thursday and Friday. We've got wind chill and winter storm watches that are in effect. And on Friday, we'll continue with those wind chill watches because we're going to have the snow, gusty winds, and dangerously cold temperatures. We're still at that game plan stage. We're still a couple of days out from this system. There's still a few changes possible, things that could work out in our favor or possibly on the negative side. We're going to break down all of the details on this winter storm that's incoming on Thursday here in just a few minutes. First, though, what's happening right now? We have some dense patchy fog out there in some areas. You can see it from our MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline off in the distance, and it can be seen at 7th and Rangeline, a little denser up there. So our normal high and low for this time of year, 47 and 28. Our lows have been pretty consistent and close to normal. It's our highs that have been off by a bit. Right now across the area, it's a bit chilly. 28 Fort Scott, 26 Iola, 32 Pittsburgh, 35 Miami, and we're sitting at 33 in Joplin, as we mentioned, with that fog across the area. And we're not going to do too terribly much more warming out of this. Cloudy skies feeling like 25 with that light north breeze. Still looking to get a little bit warmer. But again, we've got this big winter storm on the way. We're going to break down that full forecast here in just a few minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. So this time of year, Economic Security Corporation in Joplin gets a lot of calls from clients saying they have high heating bills or their houses are cold. To optimize energy efficiency during the cold, the organization encourages people to open their blinds when it's sunny. People can also buy blankets for their water heaters to save money.
It just keeps the water in the water heater, keeps it warmer longer. So your water heater is not having to run as long or as much, and so it's just a blanket, insulation blanket that wraps around the water heater.
And Daniel says usually insulation is one of the biggest factors trying to keep the heat in and the cold out. With medicinal and recreational marijuana legal in Missouri, some parents are concerned it'll become more accessible to teens. KOAM's Jalen Banks has more.
According to the National Poison Data System, over the last 20 years, child marijuana use has gone up 245%. And one Joplin family has already been impacted and fear that they won't be the only ones now that medicinal and recreational marijuana use is legal in Missouri.
So it only takes one kid to learn how to manipulate the system for others to follow suit. And in our case, that's what happened. And really, we need to figure out as a community, how can we regulate and how can we help our children to know, for those who actually need it for medical reasons.
And marijuana use in teenagers can have ill effects on brain development.
Research has shown that, as adolescents grow and mature, their brains go through some pretty significant developmental changes. Whenever you add marijuana into the mix, that impacts that development. So they're finding that the marijuana is affecting areas of the brain responsible for like attention, memory, emotions, and motivation.
The parents also believe that more engagement with their child could help.
I do think that, one, we as parents, unfortunately, we are, and we try to be very engaged and active in our kids' lives. Personally, we need to be all the more active and engaged.
Gordon also says that studies have shown that adults that use marijuana as teens are more prone to have increased depression and suicidality later in life. In Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
To find statistics on child and teenage marijuana use, you can find it on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Supreme Court has issued a temporary order to keep in place a pandemic-era policy meant to deter migrants from crossing the U.S. southern border. For weeks, the border near El Paso, Texas, has been a magnet for migrants. More than 1,000 are arriving daily, hoping to claim asylum. And those who've been admitted are packing shelters or sleeping on the streets in sub-freezing temperatures. The city is under a state of emergency. Chief Justice John Roberts has asked the Biden administration to respond to the Supreme Court stay requested by more than a dozen Republican-led states. Well, as Russia continues to bombard Ukraine from the air, its President Vladimir Putin yesterday made a rare trip to ally Belarus, which sits on Ukraine's northern border. Putin said he and his Belarusian counterpart discussed forming a, quote, single defense space in the region. Analysts say Russia might be looking for some sort of military support from Belarus as the nearly 10-month war with Ukraine hits a stalemate. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, we've got tips to help you budget through the holidays. And later, we're making Santa's spritzer in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Christmas is just 5 days away, and though inflation has showed signs of easing, many families are still feeling the pinch. According to a recent Gallup survey, 55% of Americans say they've experienced financial hardship due to rising prices. But inflation does not have to be the Grinch that steals Christmas. Nancy Chen has some tips to save money.
What do you want to eat then, buddy?
For Francesca DeVito, feeding her 4 kids is where inflation has hit the hardest.
We do a lot more frozen veggies, same with fruits. Try to stretch as much as I can.
Stretching has also meant debt, even after downsizing into this mobile home in New Jersey.
It seems like these credit cards are a matter of necessity for you.
Yeah, it's what gets you in between paycheck. And then unfortunately, your paycheck goes to trying to pay it down. And then it comes down to, am I going to pay the credit card down? Am I going to pay the lot bill?
Now, with holiday bills looming, DeVito and her husband are focusing on cutting back further to afford Christmas for their children. But it hasn't been easy.
The holiday season can be really overwhelming, but you can save money.
I like to call it post-traumatic broke syndrome.
Tiffany Aliche is a financial educator featured in the Netflix documentary Get Smart with Money. Her first tip to save?
You make a list, you check it twice, and see who's going to get a gift or not. So
not everyone's going to get a gift.
No.
A recent survey found that 26% of consumers plan on shortening their gift list this year, with just close family making the cut. As budgets are stretching, credit card debt has soared 15% in the last year, a pace not seen in more than 2 decades. Aliche says instead use debit cards or cash.
Unless you're someone who pays off their credit card debt every single month in full. If you are that person, then using a credit card that generates points, so allows you to travel, allows you to earn cash back or gas, then you're okay.
And although buy now, pay later options are increasingly popular, Aliche recommends steering clear of them when it comes to gifts.
The worst thing you can do with your finances is to be paying monthly on things that ideally you should be saving up for.
Another tip, consider group gifts or doing a secret Santa, especially if you have a large family. That way you don't need to buy presents for every single person. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
A lot of good advice there. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Ever wonder what Santa sips on when he gets back home to the North Pole? Stick around to find out.
But first, we are tracking a big winter system coming in on this Thursday. We're going to break it all down for you coming up. All right, we have a lot of weather to talk about. We've got a couple of alert days coming up. We've got some snow on the way. We've got dangerously cold temperatures on the way. And we have got just a big change right in time for the holiday season. So let's talk alert days. Thursday, Friday, for wind chill and winter storm watches that are out now. We're looking at snow, gusty winds, dangerous cold through Thursday, hanging on to the dangerous cold into Friday. We're talking wind chill values down to -30. We're going to get to that. We have a lot to get through. So let's start here. In the blue, this is roughly Highway 54 and north. This is a winter storm watch through Friday at 6 o'clock. Everybody else, including those in the winter storm watch, are under a wind chill watch through Saturday at noon at the latest. And that is because of how cold it's going to get. So let's talk the winter storm warning. The winter storm warning is because of the wind. We're looking at winds gusting 40, 45. That's going to cause, even if we don't get several feet of snow, which we're not expected to, that's going to cause any snow that does fall to be blowing. It could cause near blizzard-like conditions. And then the wind chill side is obvious. With 40, 45 mile an hour wind gusts, we're talking extremely dangerously cold temperatures, potentially deadly cold on the way. I-44 and Rangeline camera, there's some fog out there, and here you can see it almost riding right along I-44 across parts of northeast Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, and southwest Missouri. Not super dense fog, but still, give yourself some time out there. All right, we are at the game plan stage. By tomorrow, we're definitely going to be at this take action point. Still some changes possible to the forecast. Snowfall totals are honestly the biggest thing that are still fluctuating a little bit. But I'm going to be honest, I think we're looking at about 3 to 5 inches across the region. All right, winter storm impacts from Thursday. We're talking a medium impact out of the snow because, like I said, we're not necessarily anticipating feet of snow. We're just expecting snow. Lice, my goodness, I hope that's not an issue. Ice, not an issue. But the cold and the wind, the next really big issue. So let's take a look at this computer's estimation on the snowfall. So we're looking, as you can see, as we mentioned, anywhere from, say, 3 to about 5 inches of snow across some of the region. These will be refined even further by tomorrow evening. Then you take that and you knock this into it. This is 6:30 a.m. This is that Arctic front. This is when the snow is going to be coming through, and these are the winds that are going to be gusting back behind it, pushing upwards of 45 miles an hour. We go into Thursday evening and into Friday morning, and these winds do not immediately let up. This is Friday evening, and we're still holding on to these very strong winds. So that's going to cause this problem. Look at these future feels likes down into the negative 20-degree range. And it's not going to get any better. Look at this. Now we're pushing the negative 30-degree range as we head into Friday morning because temperatures are going to fall drastically. That's covering some of the big winter portion. Now we've got about 10 seconds to get through what's happening today and tomorrow. 33 degrees in Joplin right now. Cloudy skies, some of that fog out there. 26 Iola, 32 Pittsburgh, 35 Miami, and 39 in Neosho. Now, as we go through the rest of today, we're still looking at a high of about 37 degrees, below average and a little cooler than yesterday. Cloudy skies. Cloudy skies as we head into tonight, down to 28 for the low. In terms of travel impacts, this system, as it comes through, is going to really shake things up. Look, excuse me, this is major. This is us, right in the middle of the major impact as this storm rolls on through. We'll worry about all of this if you're traveling by plane and everything else like that at another time. Now, let's get to the 7-day. 35 to start on Thursday. System starts rolling in about 5, 6 a.m. Temperatures will plummet. We're down to -4 for the low. Only 8 on Friday. 15 by Christmas Eve. 29 by Christmas Day. And then we warm up a bit, 35 by next Monday. We're watching a wintry mix possibility then, maybe some morning snow on Christmas Eve. And then we are watching this big Arctic blast coming in Thursday. And like I said, we're looking at it arriving right between about 5 and 6 a.m. from northwest to southeast across the area. So by about 7 a.m., all of us are going to be in this mess.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like it's going to be a pretty end of the week for us, for sure.
Not in the slightest, but any snow we get on Thursday is not really going to melt before Christmas, so that's going to be the best bet we have for a white Christmas this year is some of this snow on Thursday.
Maybe it won't be too cold to go sledding.
I'd say by Christmas Day, 29 degrees, depending on who you are, that might be decent sledding weather. For me, it's below 70. That doesn't work for me in the slightest.
Yeah, 8 degrees is freeze your face-off weather. So,
just about. Well, and that's why it goes into the wind chill watch, because those wind chills between Thursday, Friday, and even into Saturday could be dangerous, if not life-threatening, under certain situations. So take it easy. Be careful.
All right. Well, just be prepared. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero. Purple Heart recipient Herbie Jeffries in the U.S. Army. The Neosho, Missouri native joined the 27th Division 165th Infantry Regiment in 1943. Private Jeffries also earned the Bronze Battle Star, the Central Pacific Campaign Medal, and a number of Asiatic Pacific ribbons. To Private Herbie Jeffries, we thank you, our four-state hero. When it comes to Christmas cocktails, here's one that's elf tested and Santa approved. We're making Santa's spritzer in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
This is the time of year when lots of us are headed to some sort of get-together. Whether it's an office party or simply some old friends and neighbors getting together, signature cocktails have become a popular part of these gatherings. It seems that everyone has their favorites, whether it's fruity, savory, or even a dessert cocktail. One thing that many of you have asked us for is a holiday special cocktail that is Santa approved. Well, we came up with one that we know you'll love. It's a rum spritzer made with a splash of pomegranate juice and ruby red pomegranate seeds. You can even double or triple the recipe if you're expecting a big crowd. To get the recipe for what we call Santa Spritzer, all you have to do is visit our website. And if you do partake in a Santa Spritzer or any other type of adult beverage, please don't drink and drive. Make sure you have a designated driver or call a cab, Uber, or Lyft to get home safely. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Here's to enjoying responsibly so we can have a holiday season full of, ooh, it's so good.
Looks tasty. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our four-state market prices.
All right, we got alert days Thursday, Friday. Thursday, we start off at 35, about 5, 6 a.m. The system starts to roll through. Temperatures plummet. Wind chills negative 30-degree range here, only up to 8 Friday. So we do have winter storm watches and wind chill watches Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday, especially with those wind chill watches. It is going to get cold. We're looking at maybe 3 to 5 inches of snow right now. But of course, as we head through tomorrow, we'll get more refined information. So if you're traveling for the holidays, today, tomorrow, your 2 best days to do it.
Definitely not Thursday. All right, what do we have tonight at 5?
Well, a lot. For starters, carbon monoxide can poison and kill people, especially in their sleep, and it happens most often in winter. We're going to look into the need for more laws that require carbon monoxide detectors in schools and daycares. Plus, a local mechanic shares some tips to get your vehicle prepared for the extreme cold temperatures we're expecting. And Ronald McDonald House Charities of 4 states received proceeds from the sale of homes in Springfield. Hope you join us for those stories, a lot more. KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.